Morning, y'all. Okay, so I am in a bunch of like different hair groups and stuff like that on Facebook and whatnot. And people, of course, like this is where hairstylists and stuff either advertise their businesses or they talk about their grievances or whatever, right? And so most of you guys know that within the next couple of years, I plan on relocating to the other side of the country. And so I'm in one of those groups. And I seen this lady was complaining about the fact that she charges $80 for box braids, and that the person that was inquiring about her services was asking her if she could give her a deal, or if she could lower the price for her, right? And the lady was complaining, and she was like, this is already a deal. They always want something for nothing. Let me say this. While I do understand that there is like an average rate pretty much for certain services, and that because we are a luxury industry, that sometimes we will price ourselves out of a certain demographic of clients, or we're not always the most affordable for some people. $80 for a head of box braids is crazy. I'm sorry. A head of any kind of box braids is crazy. I say this to say, when you price yourself in a certain price bracket, and I'm trying to be very mindful of my words, because my intent of this video is not to offend anybody, but just to speak my 2 cents. When you price yourself at a certain place or a certain tax bracket, you attract a certain kind of customer. There is a such thing as people looking at people and going, okay, that's too good to be true, or something's wrong. So as a normal consumer, I'll just say it like this, as a normal consumer, right? I love getting my nails and my eyelashes done. That's usually a service that I will go to someone else for. I don't get my hair done by other people anymore, just because of my hair condition. I know how to manage my own hair and my hair loss. I don't want to go to someone else and it's made worse. But if I was to look at someone for lash services, the particular type of lashes that I get and the density that I get them in the length cost me $175, right? If I see somebody that is charging that same exact thing, and they are, if I see someone that offers that same exact service and they charge, let's say $100, I'm going to be concerned. Because why is this $100? I'm going to start asking myself a number of questions. Is this person a beginner? Are they charging less because of maybe their location? Are they trying to get clients because they have a high turnover rate of clients? What's wrong with them? What is wrong with their business as to why I need to pay them such a small amount, if that makes sense? Now, when you take a class or a course with someone, they will tell you, like, if it's something that you're not perfect at yet, or not perfect, but you're not confident in giving it and you need practice, then yes, you sell that for a smaller rate, but you're still not working for free. So when I see people that are promoting slave prices or sweatshop prices for something that I know takes a long time, I get concerned. And clients look at us the same way. I'll never forget when I was homeless, I literally would try to get people. I was doing weaves, y'all, for $25. So I'm speaking on what I know. I was doing weaves for $25 just to be able to eat for the day, right? And I'll never forget that I had my friends and stuff promoting me on Twitter, and this girl was like, well, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with her weaves? I don't trust nobody only charging $25. Like, that's damn near free. What's wrong with it? And because of that, the girl didn't want to book with me. My work was good, but she didn't even take the time to see what I had going on because the price was so low. So, on top of it just watering down the industry, like, I don't give a damn if this is your side hustle. I don't care if you have a regular 9 to 5 and this is your side hustle. You still need to be charging what you're worth and adding tax. On the other end of that, though, when you're charging your worth and adding tax, make sure that this service is worth it for the client. So, for instance, there are luxury braiders. There is a such thing as a luxury braider. And these luxury braiders, a lot of time, they work out of salon suites, right? They have a certain aesthetic. Usually when you go to these, and I'm talking about the ones that I've seen, not these ones that will call themselves that, but the ones that actually, there you can see where your money is going on top of your experience, right? So this may be a hairstylist where they have you in a massage chair, or they're offering champagne, or there's a certain aesthetic of their studio, or things like that, right? It makes sense. Sometimes, obviously, the area that someone works in is going to cost them a little more. So, for instance, if you're renting a suite in Torrance or Ranchos Palos Verdes or Santa Monica, you're going to, obviously, the rent and the overhead is going to be higher there. So you can't charge, LA, Inglewood, Gardena, Hawthorne prices, South Central prices, East LA, the East Side, Watts price. You can't charge that because, well, you could, but it makes more sense in those more like upscale areas, right? There's a lot of the time where someone may feel like you charge too much, and that's okay. I had to work with this. I had to deal with this myself. Being in the industry that I'm in, there's always someone trying to tell you what you are and are not worth, what they would and would not pay. What I've learned about that and what has caused me to not take it so personal anymore is a lot of the people that are telling you that, they didn't plan on coming to you anyway. So even if your box braids was $100, they still weren't gonna come to you. And it's funny because the clients that actually, I always tell people, price for the type of client that you want. So for instance, if you want a celebrity client, you need to work in an area where there's a lot more high traffic celebrities or influencers, right? And you have to make sure that you stick to your guns with that, because you got to be ready for what comes with that. Celebrities don't give a damn about nobody else's time but their own, right? Or you may want to deal with, like, for instance, my target market and what I get a lot of is moms. I will get like their daughters or whatever, but I get a lot of moms. I get a lot of working women. I get a lot of professionals. And that's nothing against my hustlers. That's nothing against my, what's the word? My like white collar girlies. Y'all know what I mean when I say that. There's nothing against them. But when you have someone that understands what it's like to put in that 8-hour day and still have to get to their kids and still have to run their household, they understand that and they respect your business more, right? So my clients that are mothers, if I say, hey, I can still take you, but just an FYI, one of the kids are home today because they're sick, they be like, girl, I don't care. Do they need something? Do they need medicine? Do you need me to bring something? Did they eat breakfast? That's the kind of reception that I get. You got some of the girlies. There are some clients that don't give a damn about a hair wash because they want to get in and out. Those are usually my hustler girlies. I don't really get a lot of those because I'm not their target hairstylist and they're not my target market, right? So I get the professionals. I have a lot of USPS employees. I have a lot of nurses. I would say about 70% of my clientele base are nurses, right? So this is why I always say you got to stop taking to heart what people say to you, because a client that's making upwards of $30 an hour is not going to trip about paying you. Now, still make it worth it. So for instance, the things that set me apart from some others is I don't care if my clients fall asleep in my chair. I'm actually working on getting a barber chair so that when they do fall asleep, I can just recline the chair back and do what I need to do. But my workaround for that is I just start at the front of their head. So if I'm braiding, for instance, I will start at the front of their head. That way when I do the back, their head's already down, they're asleep. Because I have a lot of clients that work overnight. I got a lot of clients that work long hours. My nurses are doing their 40 in 3 days. My one of my closest friends is a supervisor for the post office. She works overnight, right? And a lot of the time, not to toot my own horn, but beep, when I wash you and sit you under that conditioner, you've had a scalp massage, your scalp has been scrubbed. I use a moisturizing conditioner that has like peppermint and tea tree. So you're under that dryer and your scalp is being stimulated. You're going to have that experience, right? So there's different things that you have to offer. But what I would say is instead of trying to lower your prices to gain clientele, focus on what you have to offer that's going to bring in those clients that you want. Even though I work from home, my house is quiet. My house is clean. When they come in, I have candles lit. One of my closest friends just came yesterday to get her hair done, and she told me she hadn't ate that morning. Baby, I went my ass in the kitchen while she was under the dryer and fixed her a plate of food. Not saying that you have to do that, but when you make your clients feel welcome, what you charge doesn't matter. That doesn't mean take advantage. But if you know, for instance, okay, like for me, for my knotless braids, or for braids period. Not only do I have carpal tunnel, I've been doing this for a very long time. But the products that I use, the fact that I include everything, my clients only have to bring themselves. I price my prices based on that, right? My clients don't mind paying me what I charge. A lot of the time, without getting too far into details, my clients will tip up to about $50 on top of what I'm charging. Now, some days they don't have it. I don't look for tips. Tips to me is an appreciation, but I appreciate you even showing up and sitting in my chair, right? Word of mouth is the biggest form to me. Word of mouth is the biggest tip you can give, because while I appreciate you putting that extra $50 in my pocket, baby, look here, I drive a truck, it helps. What I appreciate even more, when my clients go off and tell people on the internet, or tell their family members, or tell their coworkers about me, because they speak me up in a way that while you could give me $50 and I appreciate that, you just sent me a $300, $400 client. You got clients that will buy hair from you, buy bundles from you, depending on what services you're offering. If you're selling wigs, that could be a $1,200 service easily. Stop pricing yourself out and working yourself to death trying to grab clients, because what one person is making in a day off of one client, it's taking you guys 10 to do that. And not only that, you're overworked, you're underappreciated, you're disrespected. Why? Because you are attracting these clients. Cheap ass prices attract cheap ass clients. I'm not saying don't run a special. I love running specials. Specials to me are my way of giving back to my clients. But I'm not going to price it to the point where I'm working like a dog and I don't have any money. And then what happens a lot of the time too is, if you're not making your specials or whatever makes sense, now you're going to attract all these people that when you do go back to your regular rates, you've priced yourself out of those clients' price range. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like, it's perfectly fine to want to be affordable, but you need to figure out what affordable is for you. And understand that you are what you attract. So if you are cheap, that is why you're attracting cheap. This is why you're getting them people that are talking to you crazy, because they're not respecting you for $80. So you mean to tell me you just stood on your foot? You're making, let's keep it a buck, you're making less than minimum wage. Now, I'm a fast braider, right? So let's just put this into context. I'm a fast braider. Ahead of box braids, even though on my website will say that it takes 5 hours, I do that just so that I have extra time. I don't like to run into people, right? But usually I get my clients out in about 3.5, and that's with a wash included, right? So if I'm only charging, if I'm charging $80, and let's say that we're not even talking about how fast I can move, but in that 5 hours, right? I'm not even made minimum wage. And then always keep in mind too, if this is something that you're wanting to do full time as a career, you have rent, you have bills, you have supplies, you should have insurance. You may have a car note. Even if you don't have a car note, you have insurance, you have to put gas in your car. If you have children, you have to feed said children. How are you going to do that off of scraps? You go into business for yourself so that you're not suffering and struggling and having a job tell you that, oh, we don't have no hours for you today. Y'all, I ended up homeless because I was waiting on a job to give me hours. I didn't learn until I realized, oh, I could do better doing this shit for myself. So my word of advice is charge what you're worth and add tax. Make your prices make sense. So if somebody looks at my prices and they go, oh, that's a little steep for me. But then they realize, oh, she washed, she deep conditioned, she trimmed, she add hair. I don't have to come with nothing but myself. I have snacks. I have a clean, quiet environment. My clients fall asleep half the time that they're in my chair. They feel welcome. I greet them at the door with a smile. I live in a pretty affluent area where they're safe. The police department is down the street. Ain't nobody walking in and out of my house. My clients don't have to go through that. Even on the days that I do work, that my children are there, my clients are aware. And my children are very well behaved. So I don't have any children that's staring in my clients' faces, all up in their personal space, touching on them and shit, hitting them with balls. They don't go through that with me. So my prices make sense. A lot of the time, and back in the day, what I would do is when clients would tell me like, oh, you should be charging more, I would always say, well, thank you so much for that. If you don't mind, just tip me what you believe I should be making. And then I start to kind of gauge it from there. You know what I mean? So that's just my word of advice. Like, when you're cheap, you get cheap people. You may be the best braider out there, but $80 is going to get you the people that they don't give a damn about what you got going on. Look at how these people treat the Asians in the nail shops. They do them like that for a reason. They treat them like that for a reason. Why? Because a full set is $40. You're not going to come in somebody's private suite and be acting a damn fool because the environment is different. That person is conducting themselves differently. It's almost like the way that people walk into Walmart, they would never walk into Saks like that, whether they could afford it or not. That's my point. So don't be Walmart, be Target. Talk to y'all later.